Hi, I'm Gary Bembridge. This is another of my tips for travelers. I'm here in Fort Lauderdale at the offices of Porthole Cruise Magazine with the CEO, Bill Panoff, and we're going to have a chat about cruising. Hi, Bill.
Gary, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for being on the channel.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
So, Bill, maybe to start off for those people who don't know, could you tell me a little about Porthole Magazine? Because I guess it's been going for a long time.
Sure. We've been publishing Porthole for over 25 years, and I was a cruise director on ships many years for Carnival. I worked on the Carnival, the Mardi Gras, the festival. I mean, ships you probably never heard of but nevertheless, I started in the industry when cruising was just in its infancy. And at that time, there was no magazine to speak to the consumer about cruising. So I got an idea. I surrounded myself with people who knew publishing. I sold some of the advertising, and that was the birth of Porthole, which is now the leading cruise consumer magazine in the marketplace. It's kind of like Condé Nast Traveler for cruisers. We cover destinations, new ships, what's hot on board, where to go, new regions, things of that nature. And the people who are reading the magazine are frequent cruisers, armchair travelers, and those who just have an interest in learning more about cruising.
But you also have, because also on the website you have quite a lot of videos, and you then have Cruise Control. Do you want to talk briefly about
yeah. So Cruise Control is a YouTube channel that was born out of Porthole Magazine, and it's a channel that I host, much like the channel you host, and we cover cruising. I go on ships occasionally, and we cover what's hot in cruising, new destinations, new ports. I do interviews on the channel occasionally, and it's Cruise Control with Bill Panoff is the channel on YouTube.
Great. Yeah. So Bill, now why don't you ask me a bunch of questions about what do you want to know about me?
Your start and your beginning in the industry was quite unusual. I mean, you used to work for Johnson & Johnson's, yes, I understand. You were global marketing,
yeah.
And you were on board a cruise ship giving a presentation, unlikely for Johnson & Johnson, I believe, and then you just got exposed to this cruise industry and it caught on like a bug.
I mean, I think the thing that I learned, I was like so many people, it was a cruise is not for me, which most people say. And then I realized once you get on a cruise, you're addicted. The minute I got on the ship, I went on the ship, it's like I was amazed at the ship because you have no real perspective despite of what you've seen and whatever. So you got on the ship, I realized, wow, the ship's amazing. Then the minute we pulled away from the dock and started sailing out to sea, that's when I got it. I suddenly got cruising. And from then on, it was addicted. So I think that was the big aha for me, which is also what I still use now, is that sense of how do you get people to get past that it's not for me. Because once they're on the right cruise line, I know that people are hooked.
What is the one thing that really appeals to you about the cruise experience? One thing, if you could just summarize it.
I think the one thing that appeals to me is that sense of just being at sea.
Right.
That there's an incredible feeling when you're looking out and there's just ocean all around you. Yep. That for me is just the amazing thing, because there's nothing like that. We have all sorts of experience on land, which are great, but being at sea, there's something I think there's something in us as people that when you're at sea, it's magical. It's like people like to live by the sea. There's something about the sea that just draws you. That's the best thing, is being at sea. Like sea days, I love sea days.
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to work on board as a cruise director, and it's magical to be out there in the tranquility of cruising.
The tranquility is incredible. Yeah.
Perfect. So the channel Tips for Traveler, how does that differ from other channels out there? I mean, it's so informational and so topical and just really well done.
Thank you. I mean, for me, the key thing, I mean, it's partly in the name, Tips for Travellers.
Sure.
So a lot of cruise blogs and vlogs out there are they talk about the experience. Right. And a lot of it's about, look at me on a cruise, here's what I'm doing, which is fine. And some people like to watch that. The whole vlogging thing is quite big. But for me, my real focus is helping people understand how to do things better. So my approach is around tips. So I'll talk about, how the cruise line works, how do you pack, what should you be aware of, what's included, not included. So it's quite practical. I think that's the key difference. It's less about my experience and more about packaging the experience of how I can help you cruise better, find the right cruise line. I think that's probably the key difference.
And you've probably converted a lot of non-cruisers to cruisers, obviously, because a lot of people have misconceptions about claustrophobia and motion sickness and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the great thing about YouTube and the following I've got is I get lots of comments and questions. The thing that still amazes me is how many I get of people who say, I'm never going to go cruising, but I love watching your videos about cruising. Right. So I think that's, that to me says this is probably the people are using it to get onto cruise ships.
Right.
I think the other thing that it helps a lot is helping people find the right cruise line, or help them have the confidence to move cruise lines. So for example, someone loves Carnival, but finds it very difficult to move because it's familiar. So
Sure,
I think what do I do is actually, if you're thinking of going on Royal Caribbean or Holland America, I do a lot of videos around what you can expect, how it's different,
Right.
and I think that helps a lot.
What is the biggest misconception that non-cruisers have? Would you?
I would say the biggest misconception by far is I'm going to feel trapped. That's the one thing I hear,
Right.
and my point is like, well, first, that's impossible, because first of all, you're probably going to be on the ship from 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you've still got to eat, drink, go to a show, gamble, party, sleep.
Right.
You can't possibly find any time to feel trapped. That I think is
Yeah.
the biggest misconception
Right.
I've found.
And once they're on board, they're mildly
Well,
surprised.
once they're on board, they're frustrated because they can't do everything. So I find people come back and they'll come back and saying, I'm really frustrated because I just didn't get a chance to do anything. And particularly if they're going on the bigger ships. There's too much going on. But if you're going off on port, you just haven't, there's not a chance you can do everything on board.
Right,
It's impossible.
Right. Do you have a favorite destination?
My favorite destination is one we were talking about, which is Antarctica.
Right.
So
Right.
I think the destinations which are my favorite destinations are the ones that cruise, you can only really get there by cruising, or the best way of experiencing them is by cruising. So Antarctica, the Arctic, Alaska, those sort of places, which, a cruise is the most magical way to see them. When people ask me what my favorite destination is, it's normally the one I'm currently on or about to go to, because wherever you go to, cruising takes you to good places because, because they know people like it. So it's very unlikely on a cruise you go to a place you don't like, because it might not be 100% for you, but the cruise line's not going to take you places that passengers aren't going to like. I would see it, yeah.
What is your plan in 2020? What does your itinerary look like?
Well, I'm very lucky because of what I do. I mean, 2020 I think is pretty full now. I'm going to Antarctica again.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing a couple of trips around Europe, both river, which I love. I love doing river. River, I find certainly for the channel is very popular. Doing some ocean river, the Mekong that you mentioned, and I've forgotten where else I'm going. So there's so many places I'm going.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's really a great honor and a pleasure to meet you, and hopefully we can do this again in the near future. And for those viewers watching, it's Tips for Travelers on YouTube. Gary Bembridge, a pleasure being here.
Great, thank you very much. It was
happy
good to
sailing.
be here. Thank you.